Right. So a very good evening, everyone. We'll be starting our presentation sessions now. Those who want to give presentation, please raise your hands. Right. So first we have Jyoti with us. Yeah, Jyoti, you can share your screen. PDA, right? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, you can start your presentation, Jyoti. Sorry to interrupt you, Jyoti, but your voice is not audible.
So now,
Now it's audible.
so my project is exploratory data analysis on given data set which is credit card fraud. So first of all, what the main goal of my project, the main goal of my project is that we will analyze our data. We will do exploratory data analysis of our data and credit card fraud. That's a problem because the significant problem. So it's a very challenging task, and I will do this project.
Right. Jyoti, sorry to interrupt you, but I guess your mic is not working properly. Can you just unplug it and plug it out again? Yeah, there is like air hindrance.
Hello.
Yeah, it's audible now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you can. Can you just start from the start?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Hello, sir. Good evening. My name is Jyoti, and I am from Machine Learning Intern batch. And today's my task is exploratory data analysis of credit card fraud dataset. So let's start. What is the goal of my this project? So the goal of this project is to perform the exploratory data analysis on a given dataset, which is credit card fraud. So it's a very challenging task in financial institutes, or we will detect how much transactions are fraud and how much are not fraud. So we will detect using this EDA. So first of all, we should know what is exploratory data analysis. It is a descriptive analysis approach. In this, we will analyze our data and we will find some patterns, some trends, which will help us to understanding the data, and we can easily represent these data in a graphical form. So here is our data set which was given. So there are 31 columns. Here I have shown only some columns. So first one is time. Time shows the from starting time, how much time the transaction takes. From starting time, after which time the transaction was occurred. Or this time given in column which is in seconds, and there are the some principal components v1, v2, up to shown v28, and next one is amount. Amount shows how much amount of money was withdrawn during the transaction, and last one is class. Class contains only 0 and 1s. 0 means the valid transaction. Valid means we can say non-fraud transaction, or 1 means the fraud transaction, which is non-valid. So we should know what are anomalies and outliers. So basically anomalies and outliers are the some values, or we can say observations, which are which affects our results, which affect our result very significantly. And these are the observations which have a significant difference from the majority of the data. So let's understand it with the example. Here it example, we have a data in a series like 1 2 3 9 4 9 up to so on, and in this series 99 and 87 is a different data from this series. So these are the outliers. There are some techniques we can detect outliers. First one is the Z-score method. In Z-score method, Z-score method is a statistical technique that involves calculating the number of standard deviations and observations is from the mean of the data. So in this, we just calculate standard deviations from the mean, and the we are just specifying the value, and any data or any value which exceeds this specified value, then this will considered as the outlier. Second one is the IQR method, interquartile range. In this method, we just specifies a range, and after this range means any value which exceeds this range are considered as the outliers. So in coding purpose, we will see how to check the missing values or outliers. So checking the missing value data using df is my data frame dot is null function is dot any dot sum function. It shows it returns us the overall result in our data set. Is there any null value? If there is any null value, it will show, otherwise it will show 0. So there is 0, it means there is no any missing value, or we can say null value. Let's visualize our data. So first I will visualize it by using the bar graph, and this bar graph shows the fraud and non-fraud transactions. So there are total 284,807 number of transactions. Out of these transactions, it graph shows 284,315 transactions are the non-fraud transactions, and 492 are the fraud transactions. So it is a unbalanced data set, means there is a very big difference in fraud and non-fraud transactions, number of transactions. So now let's see, visualize it with a heat map. So heat map basically shows the correlation between the variables. Correlation means it shows how the one variable affects the other variables, how they are affecting each other. So as we can see, V1 and V28 are totally uncorrelated. They are not affecting each other. So here 0 0 shows 0 0 shows like this. V2 is affecting by V4 like this on x-axis, and y-axis there are our columns, total complete columns, and this white line shows columns which are affecting each other. They are totally affected by each and every columns. So data transformation, basically we are performing this data transformation because time was given in seconds. If we will draw this time on graph on any axis, then it will very length of axis will be very large. So we should transfer it into a hours. So we have converted it into the hours using using this apply function, lambda function, and int np means numpy. We have used numpy here. Seal function basically does we are just calculating value, converting the seconds into hours, and it will be in some floating value. So CL value will convert into the integer. Here we have used int. It will convert into integer, and then it will select upper value. So we have here transformed our time into hours. So number of transactions. 10 minutes. Number of transactions at a specific hour of a day. So here in our graph we can see here on x-axis there are the hour, our time, and on y-axis there are the counts, means how number of transactions occurs at any specific hours. So the number of non-fraud transactions at a specific hour of a day. So in our given graph we can see at 5 p.m. So 5 o'clock there are the very less number of transactions, and at 22 there are the very large number of transactions, and the number of non-fraudulent transactions from 9 a.m. onwards are from 1500 to 17500, which is an unstable period where the most transactions occur, and from 2 to 7, the period with the lowest number of the transactions. Number of fraud transactions at a specific hour of a day. So here at 3, the highest number of transactions, and at 12 there are also highest number of the transactions, and at 1 there are the less number of the transactions, means there are very small amount of transactions what occurs. Amount versus fraud transactions. So let's see amount versus fraud transactions. On y-axis there are the number of transactions, on x-axis there are the amount, means how much amount was withdrawn, how much amount was withdrawn by the fraud transactions. So there are high number of the fraud transactions from amount 0 to 250, which can be 250 to 500, and maximum amount can be withdrawn by fraud transaction, it can be 2000. Amount versus non-fraud transactions. Basically in this graph there are the high number of non-fraud transactions from the 0 to 2500, means 2500, and maximum amount can be withdrawn by non-fraud transactions, it can be 25,000. So amount of money withdrawn at specific hour of a day for non-fraud transactions. Here we can see at 11 and 12 there is the highest number of transactions, highest amount was withdrawn. The non-fraud transaction have a stable amount during all hours, with the lowest value at 6 and 4, and highest value is at 11 and 12, and there is a consistency amount between 9 to 18, so we can say 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Amount of money withdrawn at specific hour of a day for fraud transactions is at 11 is highest amount, and at 1 is also highest, and at 4 it's very low amount was withdrawn. So now it's conclusion of this EDA. The number of non-fraud transactions from 9 a.m. onward was between 500 to 17 and 500, which is an unstable period where most transactions occur, and its low point between 2 to 7, 2 a.m. to 7, the period where the lowest number of transactions was occurs. Second conclusion was we have some peak values at 3 a.m. and 12, are the period where the most fraud transactions. At 3 and 12, there was a very high number of transactions was occurred, which was fraud. And at 1 o'clock, there was the lowest number of fraud transactions. Non-fraud transactions has a stable amount during all the hours, with lowest value at 4 and 6 and highest value at 11 and 12. So the highest amount was withdrawn by non-fraud transactions was at 11 and 12, and the higher consistency amount in the interval was 9 to 6 p.m. So fraud transactions highest amount indices at 11 and 1. So the fraud transactions which was occur at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. which was withdrawn with a very high amount with a very different low at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock at 4 o'clock the amount of money was very low by fraud transactions. The amount value in non-fraud transactions range from 0 to about 110, while fraud transactions range from 0 to 800. Or its maximum was fraud transactions can withdraw a maximum amount of money up to 25,000. So it was the conclusion. So now the demonstration of my task. So the main task description was we have to analyze, we have to perform descriptive analysis on our given data set, and we can with the help of this we can visualize our data. So first step was we have imported all the necessary modules like pandas, numpy, matplotlib, seaborn, datetime, and all these necessary libraries I have imported. Then we have to import our data set. So I have imported my data set, and then I have printed the some values like these specific columns of my data set, and head shows we have just printed only top 5 columns, sorry, rows. Describe the data. We have described our data. df.info info function will give all the information about our data set like columns, non values, counts. The d types means the d type shows the data type of our values, which type of data is it contains. Then we have described our data. Describe df.describe, it shows the mean, standard deviation, maximum values, minimum values, everything it shows. Then we have checked the missing values. I have already explained it in the PPT. Then number of fraud and non-fraud transactions, I have drawn here the bar graph. So then I have plotted the heat map to visualize the fraud and so to visualize the correlation between the columns. Then I have converted the time from second to hours. After then, number of transactions at a specific hours I have shown here in this graph. And then number of non-fraud transactions at a specific hours. Then fraud transactions at a specific hour of a day. These all graphs I have already explained in my PPT. So there are some conclusions, and these are the relation between the transaction and amount, or we can say graph between transaction and amount. All these graphs I have explained in my PPT, so I hope you will understand easily. Thank you.
Right. So you are done, right, Jyoti?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you just reshare your PPT?
Yes, sir.
Uh, Reshare your PPT, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wait a minute. Yes, sir.
Right. So can you briefly just overview your task? What your task wants you to do?
This,
Your task.
sir, actually, your voice is not clear. I have to use my earphones.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now can you hear me? Right. So can you briefly explain me in 2 to 3 lines what your task wants you to do? Right. So you are not audible now because of.
सर मेरे टास्क का मेन जो गोल था वो ये था कि हमारे पास एक डेटा सेट गिवन है क्रेडिट कार्ड फ्रॉड। सो वो डेटा सेट हम उसको हमें एनालाइज करना है। उसमें हमें ये देखना है कि कितने नंबर ऑफ हमारे पास ट्रांजेक्शन है, फ्रॉड है, कितने हमारे पास नॉन फ्रॉड है, मतलब उसका कम्प्लीटली हमें ईडी करना था सर।
Okay. Can you just please reshare your PPT?
सर इट्स
Oh,
I
you
have
can't
shared the screen already.
stop sharing and then reshare.
रीशेयर करनी है सर दोबारा। ओके सर। How to stop sharing, sir?
So basically, you will get a red button just above the screen.
लीव है सर यहाँ पे।
Not the leave button. Above.
So there is no red button, only recording.
Okay, so maybe you are not sharing. Just start sharing then.
My screen is already shared.
And
It shows me like,
now it started sharing. Okay.
okay, sir.
Right. So can you just show me the graphs, like slide number? Can you just scroll down?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, uh, scroll down, where you showed me the number of transactions of ours. Right here. So as you explained
Yes,
that the y-axis shows you the number of transactions, right? And x-axis shows you the hours.
yes,
Uh, and this
hours.
is
Yes, sir.
yeah, and this is for the number of transactions, right? Uh, go for the 14th slide.
14th. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here you have shown number of non-fraudulent transactions, right?
Yes, sir.
Now go for the 15th slide.
Yes, sir.
Here are the number of fraudulent transactions at this specific hour,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So as I can see in your graph, it's highest on the third and highest on the 12th. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So why does that happen? Like at this time, why does the number of fraudulent transactions are very high compared to the other hours?
Sir, according to given data set,
According to given data set.
ये डेटा सेट के अकॉर्डिंग ये बता रखा है कि इस
Okay.
टाइम पे इतनी हो रही है। तो जब हमने मतलब बिल्कुल जो इनका कंबाइन देखा था, तो
Okay.
ये इन दोनों की कॉम्बिनेशन बता रहा है कि हमारी टोटल ट्रांजैक्शन कितनी हो रही है एक स्पेसिफिक आर पे। जब हमने इसका फ्रॉड ट्रांजेक्शन नॉन फ्रॉड वाला देखा, नॉन फ्रॉड वाले में कोई ज्यादा मतलब कोई ज्यादा डिफरेंस दिख नहीं रहा है कंबाइन वाले में और इसमें, बिकॉज नॉन फ्रॉड ट्रांजेक्शन अपने बहुत ज्यादा थी, जो कि मैं बोल रही थी कि ये अनबैलेंस्ड डेटा है,
Right.
क्योंकि वो
Okay.
2,84,000 समथिंग कुछ था, तो ये बहुत ज्यादा थी, इसलिए कोई ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं। लेकिन यहाँ पे फ्रॉड ट्रांजेक्शन जो है, नंबर ऑफ ट्रांजेक्शन की वजह वो बहुत कम है सर।
Okay. That's what I wanted to ask because see, you were given a data set, right?
यस
Already
सर।
you have been provided with a data set, right?
यस सर।
So you should be like before starting the demo, you should be showing us the data set first, and then go for the demo, right? So we'll know key on which you have done the analysis,
यस सर।
right? Okay. And then talking about the PPT, see you have used simple themes, but you have used good graphs and explained them properly. So for the explanation part, it's very well done. Then going for the hook story, there was a simple hook story, but it was quite okay. So uh, it in all the introductory part was proper as well. Then the ending part, if you just scroll down, go for the bottom of the slides, right? So here you gave the conclusion, right? So uh, after conclusion, you have to actually before conclusion, you have to go for the reference slide because all this data and everything, right? So there was no reference slide, right?
ओके।
And then you shouldn't be putting demo slide after conclusion. Okay, conclusion is like you are going to end the PPT,
यस सर।
right?
यस सर।
So and demo comes in between them.
यस
Okay,
सर।
and then after reference slide, you have to be adding a Q&A slide where
यस।
you should be asking questions because that's a very important slide.
यस सर।
Okay,
सॉरी।
now talking about the demo part, you talked about the important libraries which you imported, right? Pandas and everything, right? So instead of just mentioning those libraries, you could have talked about them, like what do they do exactly. Just
ओके।
like 1 to 2 line explanation would be enough, right? Because the rest of the things you have already explained them in the PPT itself.
यस सर।
Yeah, and that's maybe all. Yeah, that's all from my side. Just add the reference slide, PPT slide, and be more elaborative and do show the data set which is already provided to you because you are doing analysis on them that.
यस
So
सर।
we should know like on what data set is it being done. Okay.
यस सर। यस सर।
Okay.
यस।
Yeah. Yeah. That's all from my side. Okay. You can stop sharing now.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
Yeah, sure. So right now we'll be moving ahead with Anshita Sharma.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, my voice is audible.
your voice is quite low. Can you increase the volume?
Now it's proper.
Yeah, you are audible now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, share your presentation.
Yes. So good evening, everyone. My name is Anshita Sharma, and I am going to give project presentation on developing a stock screener application in Python. So this is task 4, and we are on a second step of our project where we are going to read CSV data file, and then we will be plotting candlestick patterns using Python. So these are the contents that I will be discussing about throughout this presentation. So first, let's understand the relevance of this project, why we are actually doing it with the help of a scenario. So first we will be clearing the concept of stocks. So suppose you are running a business and suppose it's a small business, like you are running a food corner on a roadside, but the quality of food that you are delivering to the people is most likely by the people. So you thought of increasing your business on a large scale. So for that you require money for it, because when you expand your business, then it's not possible for a person to invest its own money. So basically you raise funds. Then if you are like suppose you are supposing to extending your business in a city, so you can take a bank loan, or you have another options of angel investors or venture capitalists. But when you thought of increasing your business on a national or international level, then the angel investors and venture capitalists does not able to provide you that much money that will help you to grow your business in on large scale. Suppose in different countries, if you thought of expanding your business of that you are thought of expanding your business on different branches in different countries, so it is not possible for the angel investors or venture capitalists to provide you the money. So then what actually comes the concept of IPOs, where the company gives the IPOs. IPOs are basically initial public offerings where they take the funds from people, and people, they ask the people to invest their money in their business. So whatever profit the company will be making, in return people who invested their money will be getting the 1%, 2%, or according to the deal they will be getting the money. So this is all about stocks. Now if I am an individual investor and I want to invest my money, why? Because I want to earn a profit. So I find out a way to invest my money in a stock market. So I could have a lot of option available in the market, that where I should invest my money. So so for this purpose we are designing an application, stock screener, where according to your criteria may be a price range, like how much money I will be investing, yeah, what is my capacity to invest money, or my criteria might be that how much earning I will be getting at the end. So according to my criteria, we will be developing a stock screener app where you will be putting your criteria, and according to the filters that you put, you will get the required match, that actually the type of stocks you are looking in the market. So now the concept comes of this candlestick pattern, as you can see the image on the screen. So these candlestick patterns help you to predict the market, that how actually the current market is going on, what is the trend market, whether the market is low, high, according to specific company. Every company has its own specific patterns, that how their market is being going on. So basically in this presentation we are going to look over that over these candlestick patterns, and in this presentation I will be using the data of Bank of Baroda, and we will be plotting its candlestick patterns according to the data. So let's start with the CSV file. So what actually CSV file is? Here CSV file refers to the process of extracting structured data from a CSV file. So structured data, when it comes to work on a project, then data is the crucial information that should be maintained. And data is basically as you know that it is just a raw facts figures. So we need to process the data in order to make it a information, so that we can make an decision. So we can make an important decisions. So that is why it's very necessary to maintain the data. So that is why we are using the CSV file, which will help us to help in our project to go through all the to develop these candlestick patterns. Here Python provides you the libraries like pandas that simplify the reading and manipulation of CSV data. And by using these appropriate functions of Python, you can import CSV data into your Python environment and store it in a data structure such as data frames for further analysis. Next we will be understanding that what is plot candlestick patterns. Candlestick patterns are visual representations of price movements in financial markets. Means commonly these are used for technical analysis. It means that you will be knowing the trend, that what actually how the trend is going in the market, whether market is low, high, you should enter or exit in the market. And Python libraries such as Matplotlib and MPL Finance provide functionalities to plot candlestick charts based on that data. And these libraries allow you to customize the appearance of the candlestick plot, including colors, styles, and additional indicators. According to the functionality of the Python, the functions they have provided, you can change their style, their color patterns, and all. Candlestick patterns provide insights into market trends, reversals, and sentiment, aiding in decision making for trading and investment strategies. So CSV basically stands for comma separated values. It means it is a simply a widely used file format for storing and exchanging structured data. CSV files are just like a plain text file, means it is in a tabular format where there are certain rows and columns letting you know about what actually the data is all about. And once we can have an overview of the CSV file, this is in the Excel sheet. This is our CSV file, and this is the data of Bank of Baroda. And this is here in our CSV file, we have the date. Then here we have opening price of the transaction of the day, highest price of the transaction of the day, low, close, and volume. So we have a lot of rows, and then we will be using this data to plot the patterns. So now how we can read the CSV file in Python? We have various options to read the CSV file. So very first step is you can use the CSV built-in Python module that provides you the functionality for reading and writing CSV files. Or you can use the pandas. Pandas is one of the powerful data manipulation and analysis library in Python. It provides a high level interface for reading, writing, and working with CSV files. And this function, the read CSV function, helps you to efficiently import CSV data into a data frame, which is a versatile data structure for data analysis. Means your CSV file can be in any of the format. Like it can be, it might possible that your CSV file or the data set that you have been given will be in the array form or matrix form. So Panda library help you to convert your data into a tabular format, and you will be working on that data. We have other options as well, like we have NumPy as well, which also help us to handle the large arrays and matrices of data efficiently. And here another option also we have of Dask. You can use the CSV file and process them in chunks, making it suitable for handling large scale CSV data. So now the question comes that what is the importance of exploring the CSV data? So the very first point is understanding the data structure. It's very important when you are working on a project, then you should know that what project you are working, what are the key attributes, key points, so that you can easily relate those, correlate the different attributes and predict actually what it requires or demanded by the customer. Second, data quality assurance. It means that your data, whatever you are using, should be consistent. It means that it should not contain any missing values or errors. If it is, then you should clean the data. You should pre-process the data by techniques, and then you should use it, because then it will give you a consistency. It will give you the perfection while you are working on the project. Then feature selection. Feature selection is a technique. When you use a CSV file, then feature selection is the technique of extracting the relevant features when you are working on any task. It means that CSV file helps you to identify the relevant features for particular task. For example, that suppose you want to calculate the marks of a semester, and your university is storing your data, and your whole record may be your name, your father name, your mother name, your address, correspondence address, your marks, and many more things. But if you want to do the task of simple calculating the CGPA of particular semester, then what you actually require just the name, roll number, and the marks. So these are the relevant feature. Other features are also important, but these are the relevant features when you are calculating the CGPA. So this is the feature selection technique, and CSV files helps a lot when it comes to feature selection. And identify patterns and relationships. It means that it's very important that whatever columns you have been given in the data set, they should be correlated so that you can predict what actually you are required. So now we can have an overview of the candlestick pattern. So candlestick structure consists of four main components, that is the open, close, high, and low prices of a financial asset over a specific time period. So in this picture, we can see we have two types of patterns, green and red candlesticks. And here four components we have, where the body of the candlestick represents the price range between the open and close prices, while the wicks, these wicks you can see, this is called wicks or shadows, represent the high and low price. So open price means the opening transaction of the day, and close means the closing transaction of the day. And the highest transaction of the day, and low represent the lowest transaction of the day. And green basically represents how green gives you the sign of positive, that where market is going high, and red gives you the downside, that how market has gone down. So we have two types of candlestick patterns, that is bullish and bearish. Candlestick can be categorized as bullish or bearish based on their colors and their pattern. A bullish, this is the bullish, and this is bearish. Bullish candlestick, often green, or you can somewhere find it in the white color as well, indicates that the closing price is higher than the opening price. Means the closing price of the day is higher than the opening price of the day, and this suggesting you the buying pressure and positive market sentiment. This give you a positive sign that you can buy the stock if you can see this type of pattern. And conversely, a bearish candlestick pattern indicates that the closing price is lower than the opening price, and it suggests you the selling pressure and negative market sentiment, that you should sell the stock if you are holding it right now. So what is the significance of these candlestick patterns in financial analysis? So candlestick patterns are used by traders and analysts to make informed trading decisions and identify potential entry and exit points in the market. So basically, these candlestick patterns are like, they help you to predict the future. Means suppose we understand with the help of example. Suppose one morning you have to go to office, and you see that today clouds are black and wind is blowing, so it's indicating that rain may come. So in order to be secure or on a safer side, you should carry umbrella. Okay, so in the similar way, these candlestick patterns help you that whether the market is going high or low, where you should enter in the market, where should you should exit, where you should when you should sell your stock if you are holding, or when you should buy, so that in order to make a large profit from these. So by recognizing specific candlestick patterns, traders can anticipate potential price reversals, trend continuations, or breakouts, improving their timing and decision making. Candlestick patterns helps you to identify support and resistance levels, which are key areas where the price may reverse or experience significant price movement. They assist in understanding market psychology. What is the psychology of the market right now, and the balance between buyers and sellers. And it helps you in the combination with other technical indicators and other analysis techniques to strengthen trading strategies and confirm signals. Once we can have a demonstration where we have actually worked that how the code has implemented and how we have implemented the Bank of Baroda patterns. So first we have MPL Finance is the Matplotlib library, which help you to plot the graph. So so very first step is you should install it if it is not already. Then here we have imported the libraries like pandas. As I told you, pandas help you to convert your data structure, your data set into the data frame, means into a tabular format, so that you can easily work on it. And Matplotlib library helps you in plotting your graph or patterns. So very first step is we are reading the CSV data into a pandas data frame. So this is the way we have used the read CSV function of the Python library, and we have read the data that I have shown you, that Excel sheet. Then I am pre-processing the data. I am here seeing the data. If it consists any missing values or any errors, then with the help of this function, I have replaced all the missing values. And then next we have converted our data into the date column to date time. So basically, because date is important here, so you have converted your data set into the date time format, because by the on the basis of the date and time, you will be analyzing the market. Then you have sort the data by date. It means that because if you want to see the performance of the company of the past 6 months, then it should be in sorted order. So that's why we have done this. Then here we are preparing our data for candlestick plot by giving these all the attributes that we have in our data set. And here we have used the functions to plot the candlestick patterns. Here I have given that how much width should be of the candlestick, then what is the if the market is going high, so for color up I have given green, and if the market is down, then for color down I have given red. And here I am just plotting. So this is how we have got the patterns of the given data set. Where for plotting we have plot dot title, means here I am getting the title Bank of Baroda stock. Then on the x-axis we have data, and on the y-axis we have price, and we have also used the function for grid. So you grid you can see here, and finally we have plotted. So this is how the pattern is actually going of the given data set. So concludingly, we can say that by combining these two tasks, you can read financial data from CSV files and visualize it as candlestick charts in Python, enabling you to analyze and interpret market behavior more effectively. You can, by using these trends, you can more effectively make the profit in future. And this process is particularly valuable for individuals involved in financial analysis, trading, and investing. So this is the reference that I took to learn more about candlestick patterns. For any queries, we can have further discussion on it, or you can contact me on this email ID. Thank you so much, everyone.
Right, I believe it's done.
Yes.
Right, so see, let's talk about the PPT first. Okay, so there was a very good story from your part. It was very well explained. There was a very good introduction. See, throughout the PPT, there was a good energy from your side, good energy, good expression.
Yes.
So A1 for that. Then your PPT is very well structured. Okay.
Yes.
You have sorted everything in point wise, explained them properly. You weren't just reading them, but explaining from your side. Every term was explained. So that was a very good point. Then just scroll down. Right. Yeah. Yeah. As I said, it's very well explained. You could have, given some examples in between, like graph wise. See, there were real life examples in between the PPT in every explanation part, which is a very good thing. So that shows that the presenter is like aware of what to add during explanation part. So that's a very good thing. That what I am talking about is, see, since it's a plotting graph, right? So the more the examples about the graph, the better explanation, understanding. So that could have been done first. Then you ended in the reference slide. Although you have added like Wikipedia link, you could have given the data set which has been provided to you.
Yes.
Or any other, because
Yes, sir.
Wikipedia won't be the only source where you have. Yeah,
Yes,
so yeah, you should be adding more number of references. Okay.
Okay.
Going for the demo part, you already explained the library in the PPT, and each step was explained properly. According to the given data, like can't the scale be increased? The x-axis, nothing, because every data is like congested. So the point where you were explaining about two types of candlestick, right?
Yes.
So here it's all merged.
Yes, sir.
Right, so it's not properly visible. Where is that bullish type of candlestick and the other one? So if just the scale was increased
Yes.
from the x-axis, it would have been properly visible. Rest everything was properly explained, and the PPT was well explained as well. Cool. So I believe this was actually a very good presentation from your side, and I believe this is actually the best presentation for this topic. Okay, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Right. So let's move forward. Yeah, you can stop sharing the screen. Right. So now we have Suhaib with us. Yes, Suhaib.
Good
Please
evening, sir. Am I audible?
yeah, you're audible and visible as well. Yeah, start sharing.
So is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah, you can start.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir. My name is Mohammed Suhaib. I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's degree in engineering from Loyola ICAM College of Engineering and Technology. I'm currently in my third year. Here at Hackveda, I'm interning in the web developer group. My task was to develop a doctor search website. I've named it Doc Finder. So the agenda is we'll start with the introduction and then the problem statement. Then I'll go with the tech stack which I've used to create this website. Then I'll explain the process of creation, then how the website works, and finally I'll end it with a demonstration. Doc Finder is a website to search for doctors in any area of any specialization. That is, we have two parameters to search. We can search by area and we can also search by specialization. So in today's fast-paced world, finding the right doctor to meet our specific needs is very difficult. The traditional methods which we have, like word of mouth recommendations, in this world, in modern world, it's actually very difficult. And also we can go to directories and stuff, but it's very difficult. So websites where we can easily search as per our requirement, they are actually very needed. Um, it simplifies the process of finding the perfect doctor for our medical needs. It provides a comprehensive and user-friendly solution uh, that connects our patients with a vast network of qualified and reliable doctors. Our goal is to empower individuals to make informed decisions about their own healthcare without needing to rely on rumors and word of mouth recommendations, etc. Um, I'll walk you through the benefits, how our website works, etc. Also, user experience is also taken into account here. So how the user feels, what is the experience of the user in our website. So we'll start with the problem statement. My task was to develop a doctor search website. The task description, it was given, we have to use Figma to design. And also we have to export the design using Locofy or Anima. And then we have to create a database and create web services to serve the doctor. The problem we have is in today's finding the right doctor is extremely difficult. We have limited access to information and traditional methods are time consuming. Also, reviews we read online, they are not reliable and transparent. Doctors may pay people to give good reviews. So we want to make it as reliable as we can. And also there is a huge amount of doctors to search from. So we want to break it down into smaller, so that filters, the users can use proper filters to search for the doctors they want. So the tech stack, I've used Figma. It is a designing tool. I've used it for designing the website. And I've also used, after designing the website, we can use an AI application, which is locofy.ai. We can use it with CSS code, and then we can use 000 web host. It is a web server. It is a free web hosting service. We can use it for hosting our website. Then I used MySQL, that is PHP MyAdmin, for creating the backend database. And then I used PHP for creating my backend web service. Then I use Postman for testing the web service which I have created using PHP. And then I use jQuery for connecting the front end and the back end of the application. Process of creation, first we started with the design of the application. I used Figma for creating the design, which is the front end of the application. And then I converted the front end, the design, to HTML CSS code using Locofy. And then I started with the database backend, which includes the database and then the web service. Web service I created using PHP, and then testing of the web service was done using Postman application. and then I hosted it in the 000 web hosting service. So I've included some snapshots of my work, starting with the design. This is a Figma landing page, my page. This is the website I've created. We have the navigation bar here, and then the basic design. This is the search area, where we can search by category, and we can also search by area. Then we have the steps which we are going to follow, which the user needs to follow to get their problem solved. Then this is the Locofy page. This is the Locofy builder actually, where we can get a preview of the code. In the left side we have the HTML code, in the right side we have the CSS code, and then we can export a zip file of the code to our desktop. I use VS Code editor for editing my HTML and CSS code. This is actually the web service which I created using PHP. I'll explain it actually in the editor in the next portion. This is a screenshot of the web host, 000 web host web hosting service. This is a database which I have created, where I have inserted these records of doctors as a sample. This is a screenshot of the Postman tool, which I've used for testing the web service. This is the final website, where here we have the forms for searching, and this is the result which we get. So before I go with the working, I'd like to explain the code in VS Code. So this is the HTML code. This is that gives the basic structure of the website. We'll start with this is all exported from the design using code converter, that is Locofy. So I didn't need to actually write all the code myself. I just created the design and then converted it using Locofy. This is a JavaScript which I've used for scrolling.
Right.
When I click the search button.
Yeah, Suhaib, sorry to interrupt you, but if you are showing your code, it's not visible on the screen. We can still see your PPT.
Wait a minute. I think I shared only my PPT.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I stop sharing and start again, sir?
Yes, exactly.
Can I stop sharing?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Is it now visible, sir?
Yes, now it's visible.
As I said, this is the HTML file. I converted everything from the design using Locofy app. This is a JavaScript code which I've written for scrolling. When I click the search button, I can scroll to the search area. And this is the jQuery code which I have written to send the request and get the response. And the response which we are getting, we can show it in the HTML code. These two, global CSS and index.css, it includes all the CSS code. This also was converted using Locofy. This is the web service which I have written. So first, we are getting the input, the form from the user, and then we are connecting to the database. We have the host name, database name, database user and password, which we are using this to connect to the database MySQL function. And then here we are writing the SQL query. This used to get our information from the doctors table. We are getting the doctor where we are giving the conditions. If doctor area is same as the search area, and doctor category is same as the search parameter. So this entire part is used to print the response in a HTML format in our HTML in our website. this echo data echoes the response which we have which we are taking here in the HTML website. So I'll go back to my presentation. I'll proceed with how our website works. We have the front end, the back end, and the database are the three main parts. The front end is what the user interacts with. The user interacts only with the front end. In the front end, the user inputs the data in the form, whatever the information, the area or the category which he needs. And then the request is sent to the backend using jQuery. Data is fetched from the database using web service, and then it is responded back to the front end by using jQuery. Quick description of the website. Okay, this is our website. When you click search now, we scroll area. Here we have two options. We can search by category or we can search by area. First is the entire steps which the user needs to take. Let's search by area first. When I enter Chennai and search, sorry, I inputted Chennai in the category area. We have to use it in area. We get two doctors which are in my database from Chennai, and we can use the category as well. So for example, I'm searching for a dentist in Bangalore. Then I get the dentist name and it is a dentist image as well from the database. So these are my references which I have used. I used this YouTube video to learn about Figma since it was my first time using actually Figma, HTML and CSS code and created the website. This is the first time I used Figma to design and use Loco5 for code conversion, and also the full stack web developer playlist from Hackweather, which I followed to complete my task. In conclusion, so my aim was to provide an improved method of connecting with doctors, which I have achieved with this. You can search for the doctor you want by your category, by area you want, and you can connect with your doctors. It is user-friendly solution to solve their problem. We are actually leveraging technology so that we can avoid traditional methods, which can be very not reliable and very daunting and hassle, a big hassle. So also we need, obviously it needs a lot of enhancement and upgrades of facilities for the website, which I commit to doing in the future. So that's my presentation. Any questions?
Right, so are you done?
Yes.
So I thought there will be another thank you slide. That's why
Thank you.
so let's talk about the demo first. Can you just share your demo screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so refresh the page.
Refresh the page. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so see, your demo page is quite, the font size are quite big, so it's quite okay, and the colors I used are unique, of which I have seen in many demos. The only thing which am talking about here is the misalignment of this compartment. See, the find best doctors are is down, then the get appointment is slightly up. You have did the problem arrive at the export part, or what happened?
So actually, first it was properly aligned, sir, but when I was working with the actual result, when I need to get the result in this area, so it was getting a little bit congested. So I needed to do this.
Okay, but that's because the results, the output which you are showing now here, the name itself, the font size is quite big. That's why it's taking all the space. See, it was to be shown like the photo, the name, and some lines about the doctor, right? So I believe you only showed the photo and the name, and just a dentist in the bottom part. Can you just put one result here? Yeah, right here. So the name section is quite big. So that's why your compartment got misaligned. And see, there has to be some space, because see, the doctors find, and then there has to be some space between the results. Okay, there's no space, right? So I believe the name font size are quite big, so you should be doing changes in your Figma file first. Okay. Secondly, this is the result part, but when anyone comes to your website, the first thing they'll notice is that misalignment. Okay, that shouldn't be happening. Okay, you should align that compartment size properly. Okay, and give proper spaces, and do that do that thing first, and then re-upload your demo part. Okay, in the technical support. Have you submitted this presentation and demo?
No,
Okay,
I've submitted the files and GitHub link.
GitHub link, right. That's what I'm talking about. So just update the Figma,
PPT.
yeah,
The demo.
Figma design, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
And then re-upload it to your GitHub link, and then submit it in the technical support. Okay. Okay. Now talking about the PPT, switch back to the PPT. See, your PPT is quite well structured. You have covered every step. The hook story part was good, very well explained. That was a like unique hook story I have heard, like mouth recommendation word. So it was a good hook story. Secondly, when you were talking about the steps, right? You went from Figma to Locofy. Then you talked about your code. You talked about the postman service, right? But what I'm trying to say here is, you should be now giving some at least brief idea about the steps. When you came to the postman service, you only talked about we entered the we only use it to check the website whether it's working or not, right? But instead, you could have talked about the parameters. Can you just open the 11th slide? 11th, no, not the 11th. The API testing 13th slide, right? So here you should have given at least a brief idea about what does the postman service do. You take two input parameter in the body section, and then you get the results, and that's how you check whether your website is working or not. Then the database, even in the database itself, on the 12th slide, you could have talked about the columns. One is category, and then the area, and talking about the name of the doctor. So that could have been done, right? So I believe that part was bit rushed. Then again, there was a good flowchart on the working part, and reference slide. Yeah, there was no thank you slide. You should be adding a thank you slide at the very last slide. Okay. Just update your demo part and resubmit it in the technical support. Okay. Yeah. Right. So let's move forward. We have Devendra with us. Yes, Devendra. Unmute yourself.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Am I visible, right?
Yeah, you're visible and audible as well.
So I'll be sharing my PPT now.
Yeah, sure. What's the topic?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, good evening, sir. My this project is called stock trading application, and my task was to understand the project synopsis and then give it and the requirements that will be required to develop this particular application, and then give a presentation on it. So this was my task. So I will go on with it. The contents that would be there in the today's presentation would be, I would be giving a brief intro what is the relevance of this particular application, then the feature that I have thought of adding into it, the tech stack that we'll be using, why that particular tech stack is to use, like I will go into detail, okay, like how particular features will be implemented using the tech stack, and then I'll talk about testing, and then so. uh, Yeah. So this particular stock trading application, with the growing rise in economy and more people who are actually going on investing in stocks, this particular application has a great deal of relevance in today's society. The simple fact that it would be providing you real-time data as per your wish, as per your time, at a few fingertips away on your phone. It just adds a great adds great relevance to this for this particular application. You'll be getting real-time data, different sets of tools, and also methods to analyze that particular stock, whether you how would like to so that you can make decisions on how would you like to invest your money in the different stocks. So yes, this was the relevance. Yeah, so the features that I would be like to include in this application would be that I have thought of including a auto search feature, auto search completion feature, so that among an array of different company stocks, you can find your particular stock that you're interested in, and would be giving you a better user experience. And further, for storing the data for different users, we are using MongoDB, and I would like using it as a local repository on the application itself. The application would also be having authentication for different users, for which I would be using Firebase. And while doing this particular authentication, it will also include also be storing data whether the that particular user has already authenticated, as in like if its session is already going on, or he or she needs to log in again. Yeah, so for that purpose, I'll be using Firebase. For getting the real-time data of different stocks, I'll be using the API by Alpha Vantage. Yes, so yeah, so these are the technology that I'll be using for building this particular application. Kotlin would be a main Android development tool, and as the main language for building this particular app. I'll be using MongoDB for storing the data of different users, and we're using their local database in the application itself. Firebase would be used for the authentication purposes, and yeah, as I said, Alpha Vantage for the getting the API key and then fetching the real-time data of different stocks. So yes, so why I'll be using Kotlin? First of all, Kotlin is a widely developing and quite gaining in popularity. It is as it is supported by Google as the first go-to language for your Android development, and as it has an interoperability with Java, already having a large community base, it gives Kotlin several other features, several other advantages over other Android developing applications. Yeah, so for authentication purposes, as I said, I will be using Firebase, which provides an array of services, cloud-based services, and different authentication methods, different authentication tools. Like if you want to authenticate using the simple sign in a password, whether you would like to authenticate using mobile number, OTP, or you like to authenticate using your Google or Facebook account. Yeah, and apart from that, it also has different databases, Firestore, etc. So this is how your data gets stored, like for authentication purposes. For example, in this particular case, I have activated the sign-in method as like a simple email and a password. So you enter the password and the email to like log in, and then this would be used to check into like whether you have an active session or you're not. So these are already tested number of emails that I have already implemented here just to display. And this is the basic dashboard for Firebase. Like you have to make a particular project, and then it like provides you with different abilities for authentication, real-time databases, storage, etc. Yeah, so now with a variety of databases available, Why only MongoDB? So first of all, little points about MongoDB, that it is a NoSQL document-based database that stores like data with a key value-based feature. So the reason for using MongoDB is basically dependent on the particular application that you're developing. So for example, you're developing, in this case, we're developing a stock trading application with which relies heavily on a trade-off between app availability and consistency. So for example, let's take a case like you're logging in and you're for example, you're buying a stock and some other person is also buying that particular stock itself. So so for the data to be equally distributed across all the users, the consistency part needs to be taken into account. And for the availability part, that your system is available all the time. For example, like whenever you send in a request, like for a data, for you send in a request to get the data of a particular stock, etc., the system should always be functional so that it would accept that request and send you a response. So MongoDB does that by successfully having a trade-off between different consistencies and availability. And further features like high scalability, replication, high performance makes a good database for our application. So here I've attached a sample document like how MongoDB stores the data. For example, this is a particular document. These are the key fields, and this is the value that this particular key fields stores. For example, here this particular ID is the primary key field, and using this particular ID as we use in different relational databases, we can access our other data. So this is the part from MongoDB. Yeah, and going on to our API, we as I said, we'll be using the Alpha Vantage API. So the API, this particular Alpha Vantage API, like other APIs, you have to first get your account registered there, and you will get an API key for which you can use to get real-time data. And the thing about this is that it allows only I think 5 requests in a certain time period, and not unlimited requests, as it is as we are using it for a free as free. So here is some details about how an API fetching data fetching process works. So first of all, I will be explaining this through this particular diagram. So first of all, for example, say this is the client. So your client, when in need of a data, your application or your web browser sends a HTTP request to your particular API endpoint, which could be the server where your data is stored. So on sending this particular HTTP request with certain headers, status codes, etc., and the data that you would like to get in response, the server accepts this particular HTTP request from the particular client. The server accepts it and then looks into the factors whether authentication is required to send the data or not, or some other factors are required. And then it sends the response accordingly, whether the response contains the data that the client asked for, or a error or something. Like, it depends upon the different authentication services or the authentication needs of the particular data. So after getting the particular HTTP request, the server acts accordingly and sends an HTTP response with the asked data and different headers and codes, status codes. On getting the response back, the particular client then extracts the data, and also the data is sent in different formats as per your wish. For example, in JSON, CSV, HTML, etc. So here the challenging part comes, that you have to extract this particular data, and then you have to display it to the user for a better user experience, and also in a way that he or she can visualize, or he or she can analyze, as you're dealing with stock prices here. So this is a basic like how this particular API works. I've tested it in Postman. So let me show you. So yeah, this is this Postman screen is visible, right?
Yeah, it's visible. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So this is the particular thing that we have. This is my API key. As you've seen, the different parameters here. There's a function for time series intraday, and the symbol is IBM. It's just for Friday. The interval, as in the different responses that we're giving, that we'll be receiving, is within every 5 minutes. This is my API key, and as you can see here that this is the date and this is the time, and this open high is basically the opening price, the closing price, the highest and the lowest that this get. The volume 100 means like in this particular time, like how much sticks, sorry, how much stocks have been traded through that. What is the volume of stocks that have been traded? Yes, so so we have to get this particular data, and then we have to make something of it and display it to the user in a way that he or she can visualize and make something of it. So for testing part, we would be testing the application to ensure that it's bug free and it meets certain requirements. The particular thing that we have to thoroughly test is that the application that we're making should be like accessible and used by different users. For example, I'm accessing the application with my particular account, and somebody else is using the application with her particular account. So the data should be for example, the data should be adhered to that particular account, and there's no mismatch of data. And various user sessions are accounted for example, whether I am logged in or I have logged out or not. And if I'm already logged in or my session is active, does it ask for me to log in again? But these kind of things have to be tested. Yes, and the main challenge that would be here to build the application would be how to process this particular fetch data and how to prepare it for visualization for the user. Yeah, so these are my references, this particular API documentation, a few things about how API works, and this particular Firebase, this Firebase Google Docs. Yes, sir. That's all from my side.
So it's over, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, that's over.
Okay. So let's talk about the PPT first. When you started the presentation,
Yes, sir.
you directly jumped on the main topic. Like you started the introductory part first. So I believe you missed the hook story part. Okay.
Okay, sir.
There was a need for hook story. Like why do you have to do this talk trading application? Your main task is overview of project synopsis, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So why do you need that? So that could have been added as a part of hook story at the very
Okay, sir.
start. But let's leave that. Your introductory part was good.
Okay, sir.
Talking about the PPT, your PPT is quite well structured. See, so you have covered every aspect of the task. You talked about Kotlin, you talked about Alpha Vantage, and how do that work? That was the main thing from every PPT which I've seen about this topic. You talked about how does that work. Now, the only thing your PPT is lacking is the formatting part. So you are merging the theory part with the your flowcharts or your pictorial presentation. You don't have to do
Yes.
that. See, there is no boundation for the slide number of slides. So just taking the example, click on this sixth slide. Right. So as you can see, there are two theory and there
Yes,
are
sir.
two pictorial presentations. So you can just divide them in two slides. Now, why to just congest them in one slide? They
Okay,
are
sir.
already touching the borders, your pictorial presentations, right? So that shouldn't be happening. You can improve on your formatting part of the PPT. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And then on the eighth slide, it was
Yes,
good
sir.
that you explained the theory part and then zoomed in the pictorial presentation, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
instead, you could have given that a single slide for that design. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. So you don't have to just congest it in a very single slide. Okay. Just divide them in two slides and then explain. Your explanatory part is very good. You have good expressions while explaining. Then can you just scroll down?
Yes, sir.
Right.
So,
So talking about the demo part, so you have explained that Postman service quite well. Okay. Because was that given in your deliverables of the mail to
no,
like?
sir, that was that I included on my part.
Oh, okay. But that's good. That's good. Okay. So the expression part was good as well. So yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Just add a hook story before the starting the actual topic. Then go for good formatting part. You can use different themes because uh, from the 12, 13, 14 slide, it's a different thing. And above that, there is like it's a like normal, like simple thing. So that shouldn't be happening. Follow uniformity throughout the PPT. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, that's all. In the Q&A slide, just add your contact info, like the Gmail, right?
Okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
so anyone if want to reach out to you, they can contact you there.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I believe I'm clear.
Okay, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay, that's all from my side.
Sir, I had to ask one.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
do I have to submit this PPT or should I submit this PPT to?
Yeah, you should. So when everyone okay, for everyone, when you are done with the task, you have to submit your PPT or the demo part if you have any in the technical support, and then go for the PPT presentation. Okay, so
Okay,
that would be considered as your task done, like the submission and the PPT combined task done. Okay.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Is there any
Okay, sir.
other
Thank you, sir.
query?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Okay, then we'll move forward. We have Shwetha with us. Yes, Shwetha. Unmute yourself. So, are you using two devices? Shwetha, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you are using two devices. Okay.
Can
Okay.
I start, sir?
Yeah, you can start the presentation.
Good evening, sir. My name is Shwetha, and I am giving a presentation on a topic: create a Linux instance in AWS EC2. Before we getting into a topic, let me show why we use AWS EC2 to create a Linux instance. AWS EC2 provides the flexibility to easily create and launch the Linux instance, and also provide scalability you to adjust the resources based on your demand. Apart from AEC2 instance, cloud provides visualization platform to create a Linux instance such as Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud Platform. These are the content of the presentation. What is AWS EC2? What is AWS EC2? Amazon Elastic Computer Cloud provide on-demand scalable computing capacity in the Amazon Web Service Cloud. Using Amazon EC2 instance reduce hardware costs, so you can develop and deploy applications faster. You can use Amazon EC2 to launch as many as few virtual server as you need. Configure security and networking and manage storage. You can add capacity to handle the compute heavy tasks such as monthly or yearly process. EC2 instance. To launch an EC2 instance, you first need to log in into the AWS Management Console. From there, navigate into the EC2 service and click on the Launch Instance button. You will then prompted to choose the Amazon Mission Images, which is pre-configured virtual machine that contain an operating system and any necessary software. After selecting your AMI, you will need to choose the instance type, which determines the amount of CPU memory and storage capacity allowed to your instance.
Finally, you will need to configure your instance networking security and security group before launching into Linux AMI. When choosing a Linux AMI for your EC2 instance, there are several factors to consider, such as the size of the AMI, the version of the Linux it uses, and the pre-installed software it includes. Some popular Linux AMIs available on AWS EC2 include Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, and Red Hat. To choose the right Linux AMI, for your needs, it is important to understand the difference between them and to consider a factor such as the security, compatibility, and cases of use. Connecting to your instance. To connect to the Linux instance, you just create it, and you can use SSH to connect to it terminal windows on your local computer. Alternatively, you can use the AWS Management Console uh, to connect your instance using a web-based interface. When connecting to your instance, it is important to ensure that you have configured your security group to allow for incoming traffic on the approximating port. This will ensure that you can connect your instance access any service running onto them. Let me show you a demo. First, we have to log in into our AWS account. Under that, should we choose services? Under services, we have to choose EC2 instance. Under EC2 instance, click Launch Instance. Here, the first step is we have to give a server name. Here, I can give and the second step is to select the application and OS images. Here, we have to create a Linux instance so that I can use Amazon Linux. And the second step is to create a instance type. Here I select a T3 micro because I use a free trial account. You can use any type of instance based on your requirement. Then the third step is to create a keypad. Since I have used the Putty software to connect the Linux instance, that's why I select .ppk file for my private key purpose. Then I click on to the create a keypad button. And network setting, I leave it as a default. And click on to the allow HTTPS and click on to the HTTP traffic. And the final step is to create a storage of the cloud. By default, 8GB3 is the cloud storage. Then the final step is to click a launch instance. Copy the public IPv4 address and go to the Putty software to connect the instance. Paste the IP address and click onto the connection. Under connection, click onto the SSH. Under SSH, click onto the earth and browse the private key file. And click onto the open and click onto the accept. Here you enter EC2 user. Sorry, one minute. Here we successfully connected into a Linux system. And the references. Finally, we came to the conclusion part. Now you have learned how to create a Linux instance in AWS EC2 by following the steps outlined in this presentation. You should now able to launch and configure your own instance. Choose the right instance AMI for your needs and connect to your instance using SSH. Thank you. Any question?
Right. So are you done, Shwetha?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shwetha, let's talk about the PPT first. You have used a uniform theme throughout the PPT, so it's a good thing. Secondly, the font size are quite small. So since you are not going for the full screen, right? So you have either you zoom for certain slides because they are too small, font size is too small, because there are some slides where there are too much information, right? Can you just scroll up?
Good.
Don't go for slideshow now because it should have been done before,
Okay.
right? Yeah, like just like here. Go. Can you just scroll down? Scroll down. Next slide. Next slide. Right here. So yeah, right here as well. So instead of using a complete paragraph, you can just replace it with liners, one liner, two liner, like, or 4 to 5 liners are enough in one slide. And similarly on the above side as well, where you have included a single paragraph, just replace them with liners. So it will be in a more structured way, look like more in structured way. Then talking about the your demo part, it was very well explained and shown as well. Are you taking questions?
Sir,
Are you taking questions? Can I ask you questions?
Yes, sir.
So why do we create a Linux instance on AWS EC2? Why?
Because of this flexibility and the scalability, it is easy to create and launch instance in AWS apart from the Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud platform.
Right. So still the question is why? Because you talked about it's quite easy to launch, but why? Why do you need a Linux instance? Why not just use a normal instance? Right. So yeah, what I'm getting here is when you started the presentation, you directly jumped on the main topic. You were directly started the introductory part, the Linux EC2 instance, what is EC2 and everything, but there was no hook story. So why of the task can always be used as a good hook story. Okay, you should be knowing like why are you creating this instance. Then secondly, you use Putty app, right?
Yes, sir.
Why do you use Putty app?
To connect the Linux server, sir.
Mhm. See, in the instance itself, you can actually go to the it provides its own instance there itself. You don't have to use any external software. Okay, and can you tell me alternatives of Putty app? Like, do you know it? If you know, it's okay. If you don't, that's still fine. Okay,
No, sir.
okay, that's fine. So as I said, just go for the good hooks, do a good hook story part first, and then go for the introductory, and then replace the liners, replace the paragraph with liners. So that will be look in a good structured way, and won't be congested in a single slide, all the paragraphs. Okay. Then you included conclusion, reference, and the Q&A slide. So that's a good part, the ending part of the presentation. And your demo part was very well explained. So in all, just remember the points which I've told you and apply them in your next presentation onwards. Okay. Have you submitted this in your technical support?
No, sir.
Yeah, so-
Only demo video is submitted.
Okay, okay, you have submitted demo video, right? So with demo video, you can just submit your PPT as well. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So before giving presentation, just do this step first. Just submit your demo and the PPT. Okay. Yeah. So I will. That's all from my
Okay.
side. Yeah. Right. So let's move forward, and we have Manoj with us. Yeah, Manoj, can you just tell me your topic?
Am I visible, sir?
Yeah, you are visible and audible as well.
Hello.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, sir. So firstly, warm good evening, sir. Sir, myself, 20 seconds, sir, I will share the PPT. Sir, myself, Manoj Manchikatla. I am from Web Developer Group. The task that assigned to me is project timeline of the project real-time stock market web application. So the agenda, project timeline, Gantt chart, documentation, and then the conclusion. Okay, introduction. Firstly, what is real-time stock market web application? Real-time stock market web application is a full-stack web application that allows investors to track real-time stock market data in an easy to understand format. The web application pull the real-time stock market data from APIs and then display in the front end in prices, volumes, market trends, and other informations. The web application has features such as user authentication, security to ensure the data is protected or not. So my task is project timeline. So basically, what is project timeline? Timeline is a visual representation or a chronological sequence of events that outlines the planned task, milestones, and deadlines for completing the project. It provides an overview of an project duration, major activities, and their dependency. So what is the importance of project timeline? Firstly, we're gonna see, wait a second, sir. Firstly, the importance is planning and organizing. This ensures that the project is properly structured from the beginning and increase the chance of successful completion. The project tracking timeline provides a basic for monitoring the completion of task, identify any delays and taking corrective actions to keep the projects on schedule. And then the time management, a project timeline assets is in effective time management by outlining the start and end date of tasks and activities. Visual representation, a timeline provides a visual representation of the project schedules, allowing project teams and stakeholders to grasp the project timelines. And the coordination and collaboration, this serves as a coordination tool, helping team members understanding how their tasks fit into the overall project timeline. It facilitates collaboration among team members. So what is Gantt chart? Gantt chart is a popular project management tool that provides a visual representation of project schedules. It displays project tasks, their start date and end dates, and their dependencies, allowing project managers and team members to understand the project timeline and track the project progress. Many project management software tools offer Gantt chart functionality, making it easier to create and update Gantt chart electronically. So this is the documentation that I have built. So my project is real-time web application task project timeline. I'm from web developer group. So the index table for the introduction, project timeline, overall description, and the conclusion. In the introduction, we have seen that what is a real-time stock market web application and how it is used, and what are the intended audience: financial professions, traders, individual investors, business professions, institutional investors. These are the intended audience of a real-time web application stock market. The project timeline it is divided into 2 months, and each month is divided into 4 weeks. In the week first, it is assigned 2 tasks. Firstly, in the task 1, we are gonna introduce to the React.js. It is a framework of JavaScript. And in the task 2, we're gonna understand the understanding components, JX syntax, and state management in React.js. And in the week 2, we're going to style the application by using CSS and Sass to create responsive designs. And in the task 2, we're going to set up user authentication by using JSON, web tokens, and passport.js. In the week 3, understanding the Alpha Vantage API and using it to pull the real-time stock market data. And in the task 2, displaying the data on the front end of real-time stock market web application in an easy to understand format. In the week 4, we're gonna add search functionality to the application to allow user to search the specific stocks. And in the task 2, we're gonna test and debug the errors which are getting in the website. And in the month 2 of week 1, implementing data visualization, adding data visualization to the application using charting libraries such as d3.js or chart.js. And the task 2 is to handle errors and edge cases. Handling errors and edge cases in the application such as correct, incorrect user input or API errors. And in the week 2, we're going to build the backend by using the Node.js and Express.js. And in the task 2, we're going to create APIs, creating APIs to handle user authentication, data retrieval, and data manipulation. And in the week 3, we're going to integrate news API to display the relevant news article related to the selected stocks. In the task 2, we're going to implement real-time updates using web stocks to ensure that the data displayed is always up to date. And in the final week of a month 2, we're gonna optimize the performance of our web application, real-time stock market web data, optimizing the performance of the application using techniques such as code splitting, lazy loading, and caching, and then deploying the application to the web server such as by using AWS or Heroku. This is the Gantt chart. Huh. As I said earlier, we have given a timeline of 2 months, and each month as a 2 weeks. In the and the task, this is a task. In the first week, we're gonna we get introduction to the React.js, and the task 2, setting up the development environment. And in the second week of month 1, we're gonna styling the application by using CSS and SAS. And in the second task, we're gonna implement the user authentication. This is the same as I explained in the documentation. This is a conclusion of my PPT. The timeline is divided into 2 months with a specific task assigned to the each week in the same month. User can ensure successful completion and the progress of the project. Gantt charts help team member to understand the project path and overall progress, and the communication can be enabled effectively among the team members. References. These are the references that I will use while making this PPT. Does anyone has any question? So please let me know. Thank you.
All right, are you done, Manoj?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so sorry. So let's start with the demo first. Okay. So talking about the demo, the document that you created, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
you could have um, lowered your pace, like the explanation part. You were actually rushing throughout the weeks and then went for the month. So you could have just slowed the pace and explained them properly instead. See, and then talking
Yes,
up,
sir.
then there was a good Gantt chart displayed there in the PPT, so that was a good thing. Secondly, talking about the PPT itself, uh, can you just reshare your PPT?
Yes, sir. Sir, it is visible.
Yeah, it's visible. Go up. Right. So in the sixth slide itself,
Six. Yes, sir.
yeah. Right. So see, what I have observed is before going for the seventh slide, you were only reading the PPT. Okay, you are only reading the PPT. You are already displaying the PPT right in front of your audience. Okay, so they can read that by themselves. You don't have to read for them. Instead, you can just add liners and then try to explain them, like what are
Yes.
they. Secondly, when you started the presentation, you directly jumped upon the project timeline. But
Sir,
why?
I explained about the real-time stock market web
Right,
application.
exactly. So you are you telling me that you used this for the hook story?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just at the very start of the presentation, your voice was breaking. Okay, so before giving the actual presentation, you can just take a meeting with where you can just check whether your voice is get cleared or whether your internet is
There
lagging
is
or
the
not.
internet problem.
Because your internet lagged at the very start of the
Yes, sir.
presentation, right? Because when you started with the stock application, I was like, the project task is project timeline, right?
Uh,
We're talking about project,
project timeline.
right? Then there was a good Gantt chart, as I told you before. And again, in the Gantt chart itself, you were reading out the Gantt chart slide. Instead, you could have given examples where Gantt charts is actually practically used in the real day-to-day life, right? And added some few more points like the what other aspects of Gantt charts are there, and not just the brief idea about the Gantt chart. Okay, try to be more basically elaborative about their task. That's what I'm
Okay,
getting
sir.
here. Okay, and then
Okay, sir.
at the end of the presentation, just add a thank you slide. Okay, because there was no thank you slide. So
Yes, sir. I
when,
forgot it.
yeah, because we will never know when you are going to end your presentation.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
yeah. So I believe that's all from my side. Have you submitted the task in the technical
Yes,
support?
sir. I submitted Excel only.
Okay, okay, that's good. Just remember the points and
Yes, sir.
yeah, work on them. Okay,
Okay, sir. Thank you.
okay.
Sir,
So
can I leave?
yeah, you can leave. Do you have any query?
No, sir.
Okay, then you can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So since we don't have any more presenters here, so we'll be ending our presentation session now. Very good evening, everyone, and we just join tomorrow's presentation session for your presentations. And very good evening, everyone. Thank you.